So I have a new book coming out, and it's free. Okay, so that's jump. What I realized is that what was missing from my life and what was missing from my son's life is, in a sense, religion. Okay, but not really religion. Why? See, religion is nonsense. Everybody knows that. And yet it's not nonsense. Sometimes it is sense. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes it's nonsense, sometimes it's sense. And that's kind of what I was missing. That is sense. You know? When you live without religion, you live without nonsense. But you also sometimes live without sense. And what I realize, the more isolated from nonsense I get, the more I also get isolated from sex, you know? So what this new book is about, and again, like I said, it's free, right? You guys can download it at the link below as soon as it's available. In fact, maybe I'll just publish this as soon as it's available. And maybe I'll get a paper copy too, you know, with a little bit more. But reality is, you get the free copy. The reality is this, and here's the context. I'll give you guys the context. Basically, I'm creating a PDF to give my son so that when he's in school and the Christian children are going to study the Bible and the Muslim children are going to study the Quran, he can study what I want him to study. So I'm creating that PDF, and I say to myself, you know what, after I create that PDF, I want you to give it to your sons too, right? Because the reality is that sense or wisdom is something that we all require, and we actually need it constantly. When you exercise is important for your physicality, but it's also important for your mentality. And I think one of the troubles that I found when I left America was that I don't have that constant stimulation, that constant reaffirmation of wisdom, that constant application of wisdom. And that's kind of what school does, you know? Like, look at the program where they say, hey, look, every Friday, right? Every Friday, children are going to study the Bible. Every Friday, children are going to study the Quran. You know, if they just did it one time and done, the message would be lost. Okay? And yet that's how I kind of live my life, where it's like I read Ptah-hotep and then it's like I don't read it again. Right? I read Letter to Merikare and I don't read it again. So this is what that publication is about. It's really like, hey, with your son, this is your Friday study. Okay? This is your Friday study. Every week I want you to study these. And it's really simple. It's going to be the Know Thyself poem. It's going to be Ptah-hotep. It's going to be, basically, long story short, it's going to be 20 pages. Okay? Now, obviously, if you buy the book, maybe it'll be 30 pages. You know, in those 30 pages, 10 extra pages, just going to be excerpts from Ouangalifu, right? Ouangalifu is for you, the adult. But you know, some passages in Ouangalifu are just complicated. Even the passages I want to put in the book, in this little short book, are going to be complicated. That's okay, right? Because you're going to have your Merikane, you're going to have your Ptah-hotep. But that's really where I'm at right now. You know, I'm printing this free book because I realized that, like, what I did was I'm living my life, and then honestly I started, like, sometimes I just falter, you know. Sometimes I just engage in nonsense, and you know, or like I engage in nonsense, okay. And then I decided, look, let me get my son to copy this book, Ptah-hotep, and I'm reading Ptah-hotep, and he's like, bruh, you know, like, bruh, this is what it is. Like, this is what it is. You know, like here's an example of sense versus nonsense. In Ptah-hotep. Ptah-hotep tells you how to engage with somebody who's in an argument with you. Okay? sense. He's like, look, fold your hands, let them speak. Okay? Another thing Patahotep is telling them, he says, look, with your wife, right? Just keep her belly full. Let her handle the housework. You understand? He's telling you, and like you sometimes, you don't remember. Sometimes you're like, oh well, I'll shit, I'm not gonna give her money for the food right now because she, it's about nonsense. Or sometimes you're in an argument with somebody and you're just, going back and forth, tit for tat. There is sense and there's nonsense, and if you don't have a constant influx of sense, even though even though you're not engaged in the nonsense, you're bound to be nonsensical. And that's just part of the human condition. So again, obviously you don't want religion, but you want regular study of the wisdom. And here's the kicker of it, because I don't recall, I think I was gonna say, like wisdom for Pan-African boys or something like, or Pan-African sons, or that kind of stuff. Although I'm gonna change it, maybe it's Friday studies, whatever it is. Whatever the end title, what's captured in that original title about wisdom for the Pan-African boys. We're focusing on boys, right? Because we're men, right? And that's one of the things that we tend to forget too, that we are men. Like, that's the nonsense we engage. We're like, hey, we're going to engage all the children. We're going to engage the women. We're going to engage the men. We're going to engage the... No, you are a man. You talk to your son. Okay? You are a man. You talk to your son. You're not talking to your daughter. And I know some people are like, well, wait a second, but this is the nonsense we're talking about. You don't engage in sense. You are going to engage in nonsense. And some people are sitting there like, well, we got to engage our daughters too. You're a man. What do you know about being a woman? What do you know? What you're supposed to do for your daughter, and that's what I have in Uncle Leafo. You're supposed to do for your daughter is you're supposed to keep her in your home until another man picks her up. Okay? And in the meantime, when she's old enough, you're taking her to little mixers. You're introducing her to high quality men. Okay? That's what you're supposed to do with your daughter. With your son, you're like there's a science to life. There's sense in this world, and we're not even trying. So this is what that publication's about, and I want you to share it with your son. It's free. Okay? I want you to share with your boys. It's free. And if you're a woman and you're like, hey, but what? Just share it with your boy. But here's the thing that I want to really capture from this. When you go through the documents, whether it's Patahotep, whether it's Merikare, whether it's just an excerpt, and then you could read inside of the Book of Power, right? Whatever the case may be, you realize that we're talking, a lot of this stuff is ancient Egyptian, you know that, right? A lot of the ancient Egyptians were telling us as a father. They were positioning themselves as a father talking to their sons. They were positioning themselves as a father talking to their sons. Now, this is one of the most progressive societies in human history. And even so, the extant documents are fathers advising their sons. Letter to Merikare is Keti Asaba, right? Keti the 7th, telling his son, hey, look, this is what I want you to know. Patahotep, the whole book is about, it's either Patahotep is the advisor is talking to his son, or he's talking to the Pharaoh's son. Okay? And he's telling him, this is what you need to do to be a good leader, to be a good man. If I'm not mistaken, he's actually talking to his son. But my whole point is, this is a tradition that we have lost because we're engaging in the nonsense. We're engaging in the nonsense. So I really implore you, if the link's in the chat, go check out the link. If the link's not in the chat, you subscribe, like, subscribe, share, whatever, and you engage this video later. Okay? You read the text, you say to yourself, hey, I like this, I don't like this, whatever. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you the document. Okay? I want to give the document. If you want to edit out some stuff, you can do that too. What's important is that you give your son something for them to repeat. Because like what I'm going to do, my son's going to go to this stupid school. I'm not saying the school's stupid, but you know what I'm saying. He goes to this school, all the other boys are going to be, I'm reading this Quran again and again and again. This nonsense. I'm reading this Bible again and again. Nonsense. Right? And of course, there's some sense in it too. The Quran's going to tell you, hey man, treat a woman nice. The Bible's going to tell you, hey man, be the man. You know what I'm saying? There's some sense in it. Watch how you spend your money. Take care of, enjoy. The story of the prodigal son, where you gotta appreciate both your boys. Even if your son's a fuck up, you still gotta take care of him. He's still your son. He's still your loved one, right? What? There's sense in there. There's nonsense. The Bible tells you how to. The Old Testament tells you how to destroy a nation. You know what I'm saying? The Quran, if you really pay attention to the Quran, it tells you how to win a war against two factions by sending them against each other. They tell you Muhammad can fight multiple large forces and be the victor. Okay, so there's wisdom in it. There's wisdom and there's dumb. There's sense and there's nonsense. So what I want to do, in fact, I'm gonna add some of the war documents inside of this paper too. I realized I didn't add it originally because most of the stuff was in Egyptian. But I'm going to add some of the war documents in this too. But my whole point is, and of course, if you want more war documents, you go to Khalifa, right? You as Yaddo. But what I think we should do for our boys is give them that, give them the bare minimum of sense, and tell them, hey, look, it's Friday, or it's Saturday, or it's Sunday, and do like what the other people do. I told you guys this. I told this guys a long time ago. If you remember, a long time ago, I had a podcast, and it was called, I think it was like Sunday Worship or something. Sunday African Sunday Worship. Because everybody else says that they do worship, right? WORSHIP. But if you really study their stuff, it's about war, right? But it's about sense and it's about war. So what we're doing is we're going to do that worship, and maybe that's going to go into the title. I don't know. Okay, I don't know, because again, I'm handing this document over to my son's school, so there's some stuff you can't put in there. You know what I'm saying? But even so, this is what I want from you all. I just inform you guys. A book is coming, and of course, if you want, I can publish it. If you want, you can buy it. But again, it's gonna be free, and there's not gonna be any new content in it. So if you want the big shaboing, whatever, right? You go get Khalifa, right? If you want, if you want to just edit your own document, you're gonna get the document file to edit, right? You just want the PDF as it is. It's good enough for you. It's good enough for your son. You can print it out. You can cross out what you don't like. You can just give it as is. My point is, I realize that's our shortcoming, and that's my own personal shortcoming. Because again, I read Ptah-hotep, and I'm sad now. I'm sad because even though I have all the sense, even though I gathered all the sense, it has to be recurring in man. It has to be recurring in man, and that's what these other people understood. That's why they do their worship every week, because they understand that the sense, as well as the nonsense, but the sense has to be recurring. And that's all I want to say. Thank you for listening. Shabby Hotep, Uncle Johnson, Nab. And of course, my name's Oni Tase. Make sure you guys check out my book. It's called Khalifa. Obviously, I also wrote the Book of Power and the Pro-Black Compendium, but Khalifa blows everything out of the water. So make sure you guys check it out. But until next time, like I said, Shabby Hotep, Uncle Johnson, Nab. Amen. Dua, Metra.